Oh yeah, I'm really excited. The square edge, it's my favorite.
I'm just gonna go over the Forged in Fire rules and qualifications with you guys real quick. The knife must be forged with the original shape and dimensions you submitted to the judges. The handle must include a spike, head pommel, and paracord wrap grip. Knife must be customized to fit the hand, not smaller than yours, and must be safe to use.
A railroad spike is a large nail with an offset head that is used to secure rails and base plates to railroad ties. It was invented by Robert Livingston Stevens, and its first recorded use was in 1832. A rule of thumb is that you need a relatively high carbon steel to make a good knife, because it needs to be able to hold an edge well and not bend under pressure. The higher the carbon content, the harder the steel. The lower the carbon content, the softer the steel. Although railroad spikes don't have the properties to make kitchen quality cutlery, they still make cool knives that you can get creative with.
My name is Alyssa Mcgee. I'm a junior in high school and I have never forged before, so I don't really know what to expect. So as I'm drawing this out, I'm just working on trying to make it look like a normal pocket knife. That's what I carry around the most, so I think that would be the easiest. It has the least difficult blade to try to draw. I'm still working on hammering out my blade, but I've never done this before, so even the idea of just getting the bottom thinner and the top thicker is what somebody was telling me to do, so that's what I'm trying to do, but I don't know exactly how to do that, so I'm working on just trying to take the tips that were given to me and putting them to good use. So I am working on thinning out my blade, trying to make sure that it's not too thick so that when I do get to grinding, it's a lot easier. And I just keep trying to thin it out at the bottom and not making my entire blade too thin, because if it's all too thin, it'll break as soon as we go to the chopping contest. So working on making the end thin so I can easily grind it, but then the top thicker so that it doesn't break.
My name is Kayla Mcgee. I am in the 7th grade, and I was told that we were forging, and I was like, I've never done this before.
So right now I am designing my blade and figuring out what I want it to look like. So I just went with an ordinary simple knife. First I started heating up my blade to get it in like warm so you can pound it out. It's not turning up how I want it to. You have to pound it a certain way and you don't want it to get super flat. I'm just getting really frustrated right now because it's not turning out how I want it to and it's not working. I'm pounding out my blade. It finally starts looking like a blade.
My name is Elijah Brock. I am a senior in high school and I have forged before, just a little bit.
I went with the design, it's called Tonto, it's where the edges are, it's more of a square edge. So that was the reasoning behind my design. I've got a little bit of forging experience behind me, and so I wanted to go with the Tonto design for this. It's really interesting because as you're stretching the knife out and you're called pulling the metal by hammering it at an angle so that you can elongate the design.
I finally got my shape.
That's good.
Good for you. So proud.
We finished hammering out the knife. We have our rough shape. We've quenched it so the metal is hardened. And now we're working on our grinding. So we're working on the blade, we're working on the handle, we're working on the pommel. For the square edge that I did, the Tonto, it's a lot of manipulating the metal so that you're not taking too much off, you're not eating too much. And that was a lot of fun to figure out as we're grinding, figuring out the angles, because it was a lot of like, you kind of gently put it on there and you try to find the angles so you can create those nice crisp lines. The paracord was really cool. I did red, white, and blue because I am an American. I love my country. And red, white, and blue, it speaks to me.
I'm working on grinding here, but I think that my blade was not quite hardened right because every time I grind one side, my blade rolls and goes to the other side. So I keep switching back and forth and trying to grind it the right way. So I'm gonna keep trying to grind it out and see if I can make it sharp enough for the test. I chose the green paracord only because it was the last one. So I just tied it like a shoelace around, flipped my knife over, tied it again, went all the way down the knife, and then melted the two ends together.
I am grinding out my blade and figuring out the shape I want and how sharp I want it to be. And it's much easier than pounding it out because you were just getting the shape. Now you're still getting the shape, but making it sharper. So now we're wrapping it in power cord, and I chose blue because I love the color blue, and I had my knife.
For the first test, we'll be doing a sharpness test on these blocks of ballistic gel.
I'm not sure if it'll cut, but I'm confident, but I'm pretty nervous.
I have no idea what's gonna happen to my blade right here.
I'm looking at the test, and I am very scared.
All right, bladesmiths. For the next test, we'll be doing a durability test. Mr. Charlie will be taking your knives and hacking into this 4x4 here. The point is not to see what the knife will do to the block of wood, but what the block of wood will do to your knife.
I am nervous about this test.
The blade has maintained its sharpness, has not lost its strength.
Because my edge kept rolling, I'm pretty sure this block test is not gonna go well.
Has maintained its sharpness, is not bent. Looks nice.
My knife is not as sharp as I wanted it to be, and I'm really hoping it doesn't break.
Has maintained its strength, has maintained its sharpness. Well built.
For the third and final test, Mr. Allen will be cutting into these bags of sand with your knives.
I'm hoping to do well. I'm not sure if it will. I'm not sure how sharp it is after the block. I'm very happy with that test.
At this point, my knife has already gone through a chopping block, so hopefully it makes it through.
I'm looking at the sandbag, hoping my knife is sharp enough to go through.
I know I didn't win the competition, but it was so much fun, and just to get to try out new skills that I've never done before, totally worth it. So much fun.
I didn't win, but I'm still very proud of my knife.
Winning, I'm surprised. I'm quite surprised. It was pleasant. But it was a lot of fun. The competition, it was really cool. The knife, the making, the sharp, the way it did on the test. It was a lot of fun. Really cool.